and welcome to the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going, beloved? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you are moving into taking advantage of the crucial opportunity that is right up ahead. Some nations have already opened up, but we're going to see by June, everything is going to open up, and it's going to be something that we really, have to pay attention to. And for you, who have an African passport out there, please start making ways and means and moves home. It is so crucial, especially for you with young families. Because if you're single, I guess you could just, wait it out and try and take a chance till the end. But especially if you have, young families, young children, it's going to get really, really tough when the second wave hits. But that's not why we're here today. Those are definitely stories for other days. Now, the FDA, what is it? The Food and Drug Administration in the divided states has halted a coronavirus testing program that had been backed and heavily supported by Bill Gates. The program basically allowed for people in Seattle area to easily take a coronavirus test at home, and researchers had said that such testing was essential for future monitoring of the virus. And first of all, this story is like a week or 2 weeks old, but I definitely felt it was something that we needed to cover and kind of, be fully aware of. But first of all, how do they already have like a home coronavirus testing kit ready? When they are still saying that a lot of the testing kits are still flawed or are bringing false positives. Like, you see how a lot of these things were already ready even before this pandemic happened. So what had happened is that the program involved like sending home kits, test kits to both healthy and sick people in the hope of conducting some kind of widespread monitoring that could help communities allegedly safely reopen from lockdown. And so researchers and public health authorities had already tested thousands of citizens, and they'd found dozens of previously undetected cases. This was before the Food and Drug Administration actually moved in. And what happened is, the program, which is basically a partnership between the Seattle and King County Public Health Department, had been operating under the authorization of the state, but they were basically notified that it now needs approval from the federal government. And this covers what I've been saying a lot, is that there is some kind of secret society war going on. And, one thing I'll say is that we need to remember that all secret societies right now, there's no one who looks like you and me who is at the top of that pyramid. So they don't have our interests at heart. They're not for us. They see us as the slave workers at the bottom of the pyramid. Those pawns that you can just move around how you like for to effect global interests. But when we look at it, there is definitely we can say Trump's secret society versus the globalists, whereas the nationalists who want to maintain Babylon as it is, whereas the globalists want Babylon to collapse to the New World Order. And Babylon is falling anyway, but because we did see Biden coming out and, urging all Americans to wear masks, and then he called Trump an idiot for not wearing a mask, etc., etc. So you can see that there's this, if you listen to the code language that they're using, it's not about the mask, but there is a narrative war. There's a war for the minds of the people, and it's just been raging. And many of the reasons that this epidemic has not gone as planned is because we as a people have won or have made have won significant battles in this narrative war. So the federal, the Food and Drug Administration, they actually wrote a memo and they said, please discontinue patient testing and return of diagnostic results to patients until proper authorization is obtained. And, the Seattle, Dr. Eric Topol, the director of the Scripps Research Translation Institute, who was involved in the research, among others, criticized the move by the federal government, some saying that even Bill Gates Bill Gates is not a medical doctor. Why don't people understand that? But we can just see that there is a lot of pushback across the world. And what African governments need to understand is that if their own people are rejecting their testing kits, they're, pulling back on all these, their vaccines or whatever, we should also now be doing the same. And there's nothing wrong with questioning everything and having your own people, your own scientists, some who are more brainwashed than the Mzungus, but your own scientists, hopefully homegrown, who can verify and test some of these things. But let me know what you think. It looks like it's not another day in paradise for Bill Gates. And some say we may even see him get prosecuted for real, within our lifetimes. Until next time, tuko pamoja.
So don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. Don't worry about yesterday. Yesterday never left. Worry about today. Worry about today. What am I saying? Okay, listen to me very carefully. Shake hands a little bit longer. Kiss a little bit longer. You've never heard this from a pulpit, have you? Kiss a little bit. Of course, kiss the right person, don't kiss frogs. Kiss a little bit longer. Hug a little bit longer. Enjoy the quality of every experience than counting the quantity of those experiences. Make good memories, not tomorrow. Come on, guys. Make good memories. I have seen many people when they die. I've buried many of them in my life. When you look at them in the grave, you can tell who was ready to go and who was not yet ready to go. When they lie in the grave, you can see the expression on the face. It's like death was saying, let's go. The men are saying, I'm not yet ready. But you find other people, even in their coffins, there is so much peace on their faces that almost when death says, I've come to collect you, with a smile, they say, I am ready to go. What am I talking about? Don't be afraid of death. Death does not kill. You'll be dead already. Death is a state when life is done with you. So don't be afraid of death. When you see death, welcome it. It has come to collect you to another state. But people are not ready to die. Ask me why. They have not lived. They are waiting for tomorrow. So I'll throw one stone at our eschatological message of the second coming of Jesus. That makes us postpone life in the present because we are hoping for life in the future. How evil is that? It's almost put a pause on life on earth and wait for the second coming of Jesus. Let me be critically horrible. Some of you are looking for the second coming of Jesus are in big trouble because you are waiting for him only as you are going to be running away from your debts. Then Jesus must come because you can't afford to pay the people you are owing. If I could create a satire, I would say when you get to heaven, you'll find the devil waiting at the gate. Before you enter, he says, all those who are owing me, please, we want you back on earth. For the same Bible you are reading says, all, no, man, nothing, except. Come on guys, don't you read the Bibles? How can you then preach and wait for the second coming of Christ when you are still sinking in debt? What theology is that? Number two, some of us who are clustered in tribal segregations of thinking that their tribe is superior to another tribe. How are you going to live in heaven with other people whom you can't live with on earth? Maybe just get ready to go to hell, because that's where you're going. You may as well prepare, because the heaven you are thinking of is an illusion. Because when you get there, it's no longer about the Kikuyus and the Luos. You now have the Shonas to deal with, the Zulus to deal with, the Tswanas to deal with, the Lembas to deal with. You're still having a problem with one tribe. How much more when the nations of the world shall gather together around the throne of God? Will you survive? So you better just wake up from that sleep. Wake up from that sleep. If the only tribe you can see is your tribe, you are still under the table. And the smaller your table, the smaller your world.
Amen to that.
Revelation chapter 4, and the voice that had spoken to me came back to me again and said, come up here and I will show you what is ahead. Therefore, from a table, you can only see what is in the room. From the roof, you can see what is in the yard. From the tower, you can see a village. From the moon, you can see the earth. The higher you go, the broader your horizons. So if all you can see is but yourself and your tribe, maybe your chair is too small. If you have a problem with me, as I said at the beginning, therefore, go back to the manufacturer and ask him what he had in mind when he made me. For the same one who made you, made me also. And just in case you forgot, all of us different. You can't be writing a mathematics examination and you're copying Kikuyu answers. Is someone with me? The examinations are totally, the answers are totally. In fact, if I were you, just focus on your paper. Did you hear me well? Yes. Focus on your life. Focus on your examinations. Focus on your development. And today, if you hear that voice, harden not your heart. Compare not your life with your neighbor. It is your life. Today, if you hear his voice, harden not your heart. Where do you hear the voice? It's not only through the ears. Today, if you hear his voice, harden not your heart, for the voice of the universe speaks to us into our own consciences. The question is, are you in harmony with your conscience? We cannot use the church and the police to govern our spirituality. Develop the voice of conscience. This is how I want you to think as a nation. This is how I want you to feel as a people. This is how I want you to do as a people. May God richly bless you all.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.